afternoon from the Lebanon Senior Center. Rebecca here, just getting a pan heated up for this afternoon's cooking demo. We're going to actually be tackling two recipes today. We'll see if I can't get it done in an amount of time that I like. I might rush some veggies along. Be a little bit easier if I was rocking two burners, but I'm doing one. So currently melting some butter and some oil in this pan. We are going to be talking about what to do with some excess tomatoes and some excess corn that you might have in your garden this time of year. Corn might just be coming on. If you don't have corn in your garden, you can certainly do frozen corn is my preference over canned because it has that fresher snap to it. So our first recipe is going to be a side dish, kind of a vegetable side dish. It's sautéed corn and tomatoes. Ooh, I say that, and then I can get the lid off. All right, so we've got about a tablespoon of butter and some, I'm going to say a tablespoon of garlic rocking in this pan. We're just going to soften and get that garlic going. Turn my heat down just a little bit. It's always fun playing with these portable burners. You never know if their temperature is going to be the temperature you think it is. So we've got our butter and garlic going. Just briefly, just want to soften it a little bit. And then we are going to be adding in our tomatoes. Now, these little tomatoes, you might be wondering, where's your tomatoes? In the winter, if you want to do this, you can certainly use canned tomatoes, but we've got these fresh, beautiful tomatoes from the garden. We've got a mixture of sun-rolled tomatoes, yellow pear tomatoes, and I think they're 1 millions, which are like a little cherry tomato. So we are going to use half of our tomatoes in this particular recipe. Maybe a few more in there. Maybe a little more than half. My other pan's smaller, right? We can use that as an excuse. All right, so I just added our tomatoes on top of the garlic and the butter and a little bit of oil that was in our pan. Now I'm going to let it hang out. I think it's going to hang out. The thing's on. It says it's on. So we're just going to have to let it heat up and do its thing. So yes, these tomatoes did come from our garden. You can use a canned tomato if you want to during the winter if you're not liking the fresh ones you're seeing at the store. It's about, to do a whole recipe, I'm kind of cutting it in half today. To do a whole recipe, it would be about a 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes, so about 2 cups of diced tomatoes. So I have that a little bit less than that probably here. We are then, let's talk about our corn. So corn, again, you can get it fresh and you want to take it off the cob if you're using fresh corn. Or you can certainly use frozen corn or canned corn if you must. But those are the things that we've got bountiful going on today from the garden. I never seem to have an excess amount of tomatoes and corn in our house. Maybe because we really like them. I definitely have a big corn eater at home, and I love tomatoes. In fact, I've been the only person that likes tomatoes in my house for a long time. So I tend not to grow that many, but when I do grow, I enjoy eating thoroughly. All right, let's see here. So you are supposed to let your diced tomatoes kind of simmer down in your pan for a bit. I turned it up just a little bit. Wanted them to simmer a little faster. We're just trying to get some of the juices. Tomatoes, as you are familiar, I'm sure, are full of water. So we want to make sure we get those juices just evaporating out of there a little bit. And while they do that, we can add in some of our, just a little bit of seasoning. So we're going to do a little bit of salt. Sorry, this sucker makes a fun noise. Okay. A quarter teaspoon of salt. Of course, if you're watching your salt, don't want to add salt, you don't have to add salt. You can add in some dried basil. do about half a teaspoon. Yep, I'm back to my antics. I'm doing it my way. This I have a feeling has been sitting around the senior center for a little while, so I'm just going to add a pinch more just to help balance the fact it's probably a little overdone. And some black pepper. If you've got fresh cracked black pepper, you've got pepper milk, you can certainly do that. So black pepper, salt, some basil, and our garlic are in there with our tomatoes. And they are just bubbling happy away. Just watching some of those liquids evaporate out and cook out. Say it's supposed to be about 10 minutes. We'll see how that goes. And let's see here. Oh, they do suggest adding just a little bit of sugar. It is, I think it was about a half a tablespoon of sugar. I think corn's sweet enough. I didn't think we needed to add sugar to the recipe, so I'm omitting it. All right, so after this gets thickened down and those juices evaporate, that's when we're going to look at adding the corn. If you're doing a whole recipe, we're not doing a whole recipe today because I'm splitting this corn in half. You're going to need about 2 cups of corn. So today we're going to add about, half of the corn we have to the tomato mixture. Once you add that in there, if you're using frozen, they say you don't have to thaw it because it'll, kind of thaw out while it's in cooking with the tomatoes. You're just going to stir to combine, and you're going to heat through for 3 to 5 minutes. Of course, you can add more salt if you want it to. That's totally up to you. I do see these juices thickening up, so I am going to go ahead and add half of this corn in here. Yeah, you might have just done more than half, but that's okay. The next recipe doesn't require as many. Or I could totally cheat and scoop some back out, which I might kind of do right now. There we go. Just a few. Just so I can feel like I'm not playing favorites on the recipe. All right, so the juices have cooked out, so again, I'm just stirring this up. Just making sure our corn heats through. I did do a little cheat just for the sake of not wanting to waste your time and have to yammer on about nothing for too long. I did go ahead and heat the corn a little bit in the microwave, just so it's kind of partially cooked. So as we added it in here, it was kind of ready to go. All right, I'm gonna reach across my table and grab a plate, just so you guys can see what it looks like when it's mostly done. It would be pretty to add, if you have some fresh herbs from the garden, just sprinkle those on top. So that is what our sauteed corn and tomatoes look like. It looks really good, looks really yummy. It'd be fun to have on the side of a plate. If you're doing a barbecue or a family gathering, and you just need a quick, simple side dish, but it has a lot of freshness to it, highlighting some of the flavors of the summer garden. There you go. Fun little side dish with sauteed corn and tomatoes. All right, this bad boy's got to sit down for a minute. Of course, I didn't think about putting a hot pad out. So the empty box of eggs is going to be my hot pad. There we go. Gotta love it. All right, one off, one on. Getting excited over here. It's having a little bit of a panic attack on me. There we go. So we have finished up with our sauteed corn and tomatoes. Fun side dish, looks tasty. Again, you can add more salt and pepper as you desire. You can add a few fresh herbs if you would like. Another way to use our tomatoes and, let me reverse that, our tomatoes and our corn from the garden, got a little excess, start sneaking it in to dishes you already serve and made. Really helps to add some extra vegetables to your diet, just including them and exploring new ways of eating them with things maybe you haven't eaten with before. If you guys like omelets, omelets are tasty, right? You get all kinds of fillings in an omelet. Basically, scrambled eggs cooked flat like a tortilla, and then all kinds of fillings tucked inside, right? Well, you might have had tomatoes in your omelet before. Well, today we're going to add tomatoes and corn to your omelet. Except we're not going to make an omelet. We're just going to make it as a scramble. So much easier. Don't have to worry about it looking fancy or breaking. This is actually a pretty common breakfast to have if you visit the country of Colombia. There you go. We're revisiting our travels around the world with food. Our international bite series here a little bit, if you will, from last year. And we are going to be making, let's see if I'm going to do my best to get this out right. Huevos pericos con choclo. There you go. But yes, evidently this is a dish native to Colombia, and it is scrambled eggs with tomatoes, scallions, and corn. Except today it's just going to be scrambled eggs with tomato and corn because I didn't have any scallions, which also, green onions here at the center. So we're omit the onion for the sake of today, but you can certainly add it in and be very traditional. So in our new pan that's hanging out here and heating up, we are going to be breaking out about half a tablespoon of olive oil, or we're using canola in our case. What was in the cupboard at the center? There we go. And a tablespoon of butter. This is my ever so very impressive technique of cutting it off on the side of the pan. There you go. I know my mom would be proud. All right. So we're just going to get those melty. Maybe. There it goes. Had to break the butter in half. I didn't want to play favorites here. Get it moved around. All right. As it melts down, you are going to need, of course, some butter, some olive oil. You are going to need about a cup of fresh corn. You are going to need 6 large eggs. Dun, dun, dun. And you are going to need about 2 medium tomatoes. So we're going with what we have left of our tomatoes. And 4 tablespoons of those scallions or green onions if you've got them. And of course some salt to taste. So we're just going to hijack the salt out of here and leave the rest of it off the sink. I might add some pepper anyway just because I like pepper and I think it tastes good with everything. So in our medium pan, we've got the butter and the oil going over medium heat. We are going to, this is where you'd add those scallions if you had them, and then the tomatoes. So we're getting the scallions in there. We're adding our tomato in. Tomato. You say potato, I say potato. I don't say potato unless I'm joking around. All right, so we've got the tomatoes in there. Let it go for about 5 minutes, stirring occasionally. And, we don't wait very well around here, so I pretty much probably will give it a full 5 minutes. And then we're supposed to add the corn and let it go for another 2 minutes. So I'm going to turn up that heat just a little bit to get these tomatoes, reduce them down just a little bit quicker. A little stir. And then I'm going to go ahead and add our corn in there. I don't mind adding the corn a little early. If it gets a little caramelized, I think that's even better. We did that with the recipe, let's see, it was last month. We caramelized some corn for another dish in a pan, and it was tasty, I tell you. So I recommend giving that a shot if you haven't, cooked corn in the skillet and let it caramelize a little bit. Good stuff. All right, so we'll let that cook down. So while that is cooking for the 2 minutes, we are supposed to beat our eggs in a small bowl. Nothing fun, nothing as much fun as watching someone beat some eggs up, huh? If you're me and you're making scrambled eggs, normally add a little bit of milk. I almost did, but I'm trying to obey the recipes. It's so hard. I kind of want to take them as ideas and do my own thing. And then viewers ask, well, why didn't you do that? And that's what the recipe says. And I'm a rebel in the kitchen. It's probably the most rebellious place you'll ever find me. All right, so we got those going. We are going to add salt to taste, which I don't know why I say that phrase, salt to taste, makes me laugh because I'm not tasting the raw eggs. I'll put a little bit of black pepper in there. I just do a little bit more salt. I was a little skimpy on that. Mix it in there. I don't know if you can hear the corn sizzling. But it's getting happy, happy, happy there in the dish. All right, I'm going to do this. We're going to rock some sound effects today. Maybe. See if we can get it and not hurt the. Can you hear it? All right. Hopefully I didn't just hurt my mic. All right, so we've got the juices pretty much cooked down out of there. Every time I take the skillet off, it tries to shut off on me. So it's hard to show and tell. And then we're going to just pour our eggs right over the top of those tomatoes. There we go. And this again is going to be one of those hard things. I want to stir them a lot. And evidently, according to the directions, we're only supposed to stir twice. I don't know what the lucky thing about two is, but we're only supposed to stir twice. Or until the egg mixture with the tomato and the scallions are kind of cooked to a consistency you like. So this all kind of depends on, I guess how done you like your scrambled eggs. I guess they don't, like them whipped to death and really beat up. In Colombia, they like them a little bit, more rougher. This is where it reminds me a little bit more omelette-y. And I have a problem with the omelet sides that touch them early. It's hard to let an omelet set, Being patient with the pan, being patient with yourself, waiting for things to look right. Of course, I also want to tell myself that maybe they used a pan that was bigger than ours, because this is a little bit small. It also likes to cook on one side more than the other. So, I've got to turn it and move it, right? Whatever your excuse is, it's your dish of eggs. So I'm considering this my first. All right, yeah, definitely likes to cook more on the side closest to me. So we'll turn. If I can't stir it as much as I used to, I will at least move the pan. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to give them a second toss here. Looks like I missed a little bit of the white when I was doing my eggs up. There we go. So take it off now if you like them a little loose, if you like those eggs still a little bit on the moist side. While they finish doing their thing, I will reach back over here and grab a plate so I can show you our lovely dish here. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, and I don't have to feel like I'm competing with it. All righty. All right, and here is our second dish. This is our huevos fritos con chocolo. Choclo. I try to stick an extra O in there every time. So scrambled eggs with tomato, scallions, and corn. Two different ways that you can spend in your kitchen using up, serving up, eating up the extra corn and tomatoes from your garden. One to use as part of lunch or dinner, another one for breakfast, or heck, if you're a breakfast anytime kind of person, definitely you can make these eggs anytime. I even almost want to kind of sprinkle those on top of that a little bit, I won't lie. And if you do, I kind of thought it might be fun. This kind of looks like a salsa to me a little bit. You could even accentuate your Colombian scrambled eggs with a little, slice of avocado or a little dose of sour cream, which is what I've got right here. I thought it might just pretty them up a little bit. Of course, that was when I thought I could get the package open. So you guys have a great rest of your day and stay safe out there. Don't make it smoky in your kitchen because it's smoky enough outside. We love you. We thinking of you from here at the Lebanon Senior Center. Definitely keep those masks on. Stay safe. Stay healthy. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.